Hi, this is my video for the fitness test analysis for Daniel Kent. From a questionnaire he completed, I found out that he was a goalkeeper and he plays football. So I did 6 tests relative to being a goalkeeper, and they should all improve his performance. The first test I did was a sit and reach test in which he scored 20 centimetres. Compared to normative data, this is an average score, so this could be considered as a bit of a weakness for Daniel, as he's a goalkeeper and you need to be extremely flexible to reach all corners of the goal to block a shot. It was an appropriate test because it measures the flexibility in the lower back and the hamstring. It was suitable and reliable as the warm-up was completed, so he couldn't get injured or anything like that. He also removed his shoes, which made it appropriate. Those are the strengths. Weaknesses were that it cannot be generalised to any other parts of the body, like the hip. It can't be generalised to flexibility in the hip. It can also be inaccurate for smaller people. They have smaller arms and legs, so it makes the test unfair. And they could be labelled like with a poor score inaccurately. I recommend that he does dynamic stretches every day, as he's quite experienced with football and flexibility. So I'm not going to start on static, as they might be a little bit too easy for him. He should do it every single day because once again he's quite experienced with sporting stretches for about 20 minutes each day. It can't be too long, otherwise he may get injured or feel extremely fatigued for the next day. And I think it should be to a high to medium intensity, as low intensity stretching is often for beginners. The next test is a vertical jump test. This test tested power for Daniel. He scored 52 centimetres. Compared to normative data, this is above average, so that is definitely a strength for him, as he will need to jump similar to flexibility to save the ball and jump and catch the ball. Strengths are that it's appropriate for measuring the power in the legs. We did a suitable warm-up, which warmed up his hamstrings, his quadriceps. He's wearing the correct clothing. He was wearing shorts, t-shirts and trainers, so he didn't have any restrictions on his arms or legs or anything like that, preventing full range of movement. He also wore no jewellery, which would prevent injury or The weaknesses are that it could give inaccurate measurements for shorter people, similar to flexibility test. They have shorter limbs and shorter legs mainly, so they can't jump as high, and their arms can't touch the board as high. We also only did one test. We only did one run through of the test, and we should have done 3 and got an average from that to get a more accurate score. I recommend that he does squats, as they will improve the strength in his gluteus maximus, quadriceps and hamstrings 3 to 5 times a week, as if he does it more than 5 times a week, he may get injured or fatigued, so he won't be able to complete the next session. And if he does it less, he won't have enough progress in his muscle fibres. I'd say 10 to 12 reps of 4 sets. I'd say high reps because he's trying to build muscle to make it stronger, and low reps. Low intensity, as he's going to be doing a low weight with high reps, and increase the weight each week slightly, and he should see improvements after about 3 weeks. The next test was the press-up test, which measured power mainly in the upper body, in which he scored 24 press-ups in 1 minute. Compared to normative data, is an average score, which I suppose could be considered a strength for him, because keepers don't need to be too strong or powerful in the upper body. They just need to be able to jump high and catch the ball and possibly shoulder barge people. The strengths are that it's appropriate for measuring power in the upper body, mainly the chest and shoulders area. His jewellery was removed to prevent any injury. We also did a full warm-up for the upper body, including stretches. Weaknesses are that it cannot apply to the lower body, like power in the legs, as it's only testing the upper body, so it can't be generalised. We didn't do a correct warm-up, sorry, I read that wrong. The warm-up we did was only stretched his chest. We didn't do any for the back or the lower back or the shoulders, so that could have given an inaccurate score. I recommend that he does bench press 3 to 5 times a week, no more as he may get injured or fatigue, and no less as he won't see enough progress. Once again, high reps, low sets, with a low weight, so low intensity, and increase the weight each week to see results, just like the squats. The next test was for reaction time, which is very important for a goalkeeper, as they'll need to react to close-up shots that are coming fast towards them, in which he scored 14 centimetres. Compared to normative data, this is above average, so that is definitely a strength for him, as goalkeepers need to be extremely good at reacting to be a good goalkeeper and perform at the maximal level. The strengths are appropriate for measuring reaction time, obviously. And also there's no warm-up required, because you're literally just grabbing a ruler with your finger and thumb, which makes it less time consuming, a lot less than all the other tests. Weaknesses where the protocol wasn't directly followed. I didn't count down from 3, and I didn't measure how far the bottom of the ruler was to his first finger and his thumb, so that could have given very inaccurate results. I recommend that he practice catching things. Maybe he's facing away from a person and they chuck a tennis ball to him, and they say go when they chuck it, and he has to turn around and catch it as fast as possible. The next test was for cardiovascular endurance, which many people don't think is important for goalkeepers, but in any sporting position, wherever you play, it is important, and you need to be able to last the whole game, because he will be running up and down the pitch sometimes to collect the ball. He scored 2,250 metres. Compared to normative data, this is average. Once again, it's not too important for a goalkeeper, so it still definitely should be improved. The strengths are it's appropriate for measuring cardiovascular endurance. He wore the correct clothing. If he wore like jeans or something like that, it would restrict movement in his legs. Jewellery was removed to prevent injury, and we did a warm-up. I think it lasted 5 minutes. We did a lap around the pitch and some standing stalk stretches. A weakness was that the surface was very wet and slippery, as it had rained the day before, which meant he could have lost his footing, and that could make up valuable time and distance in the long run. I recommend that he completes a 30-minute run around 5 to 7 days a week, with low to medium intensity, nothing too hard, as he's doing it for a relatively long amount of time. And he should do continuous training. I mean, he could do fartlek, as he's a goalkeeper, and sometimes he'll be sprinting, sometimes he could be jogging. But continuous is the main one for cardiovascular. The next test was for acceleration, the 35-metre sprint test, which he scored 5.27 seconds. Compared to normative data, this is average, which I would consider the weakness, as goalkeepers will often be having to run out to strikers to collect the ball from their feet, maybe run out and get a misplaced pass back, which he has to get. The strengths were that he was wearing the correct clothing, all the jewellery was removed, and the surface was ideal this day, as the grass was on the concrete was dry and hard, so he could get the most grip possible. Weaknesses were that we didn't properly do a warm-up. I think it lasted about 2 minutes, and we only did stretches, nothing to get the fibres moving. And this may have ended in injury, such as like a pulled hamstring, pulled quadricep, as he was sprinting like off the start as fast as he can. I recommend that he does circuit training, probably some kind of cone activities, relay, shuttle runs. I would say 3 to 5 times a week for the best results. At a high intensity, as sprinting is working at maximal efforts, and for around 15 minutes. That is my presentation for Daniel Kent.